Most men fail in seduction, not because they lack charm, but because they play fair. They reveal too much, chase too quickly, and make themselves predictable. What if I told you that the key to irresistible attraction lies in a method so dirty, so ruthless, that it flips the game entirely in your favor? Today, I'll show you the forbidden principles of seduction that few dare to use. Yet those who do never lose. Seduction is not a straight path of pursuit. It is a delicate dance of advance and retreat. Men who throw themselves entirely at a woman's feet, who flood her with attention and make themselves available at every moment, do not appear powerful in her eyes. They appear desperate, ordinary, and forgettable. The art lies not in constant presence, but in the mastery of absence. The dirtiest, and yet most effective method of creating irresistible attraction is not through endless pursuit, but through the control of distance. You must learn to pull away just as her interest begins to grow, leaving her suspended in uncertainty, unable to decide whether you are slipping through her fingers or drawing her deeper into your grasp. Every human heart is ruled by desire for what is scarce. What is easily available soon loses its value, and what is rare becomes an object of obsession. Women are no different. When you offer yourself without restraint, she consumes your presence until it no longer excites her. But when you discipline yourself to appear only in measured doses, you force her mind to cling to every trace of you. A single word, a glance, a brief encounter carries 10 times the weight because it is rare. Scarcity turns the ordinary into treasure, and distance transforms a man into a mystery that gnaws at her imagination. Imagine a flame. If you place your hand too close, the heat burns and overwhelms. If you pull too far away, the flame dies. True mastery lies in holding just the right distance, where the fire continues to glow, where its warmth is always felt but never fully possessed. This is how you must conduct yourself in seduction. Too much presence smothers her. Too little presence risks being forgotten. The balance is to withdraw enough for her to ache, but to return before the ache turns into indifference. Each movement of distance and closeness is a weapon sharper than any word you could speak. Strategic distance creates a hunger that grows in silence. When you vanish, she replays your words in her head, analyzes your expressions, and wonders why you have not reached for her. In this solitude, her own mind becomes your greatest accomplice. She will imagine reasons, invent fantasies, and weave stories to explain your absence. The brilliance of this method is that it forces her to do the work for you. Instead of you pursuing her, she begins to pursue the answer to the question you planted by disappearing. The less you speak, the louder her thoughts become. You must understand that in seduction, time is not neutral. Time stretches and bends depending on how you use it. An unanswered message lingers longer than an answered one. A delayed response creates more impact than a fast reply. Days of silence carry more weight than hours of conversation. By holding back your presence, you multiply the value of every appearance. You make yourself the unpredictable storm that enters and leaves at will, never allowing her to grow accustomed to your rhythm. Predictability kills desire. Uncertainty feeds it. Men fear that by withdrawing they will lose her interest. This is the thinking of the weak, the insecure, and the ordinary. The truth is that if her interest dies the moment you step back, it was never strong enough to begin with. Real desire is built in absence, not in saturation. What you must fear instead is being too available, too common, too eager. Once she believes she already possesses you, her curiosity fades, her respect dwindles, and her attraction cools into indifference. When you master the art of distance, you appear as a man who is not desperate for approval, who is not desperate for affection, who does not need her in order to feel complete. This aura of independence is intoxicating. Women are drawn to the man who seems to stand above the crowd, untouchable, impossible to cage. Every time you step back, you are silently declaring that you belong first to yourself, that she must earn your presence rather than take it for granted. This dynamic flips the balance of power entirely in your favor. Strategic distance also allows you to control the pace of her emotions. If she grows too comfortable, you retreat. If she grows restless, you reappear. You are never fully hers, never fully absent, always positioned at the precise distance where she cannot forget you, but cannot possess you either. This tension is the fuel of desire. It keeps her chasing, questioning, and longing. The more she longs, the more she invests. The more she invests, the deeper she falls. To wield this method requires discipline, for it is against a man's instincts to withhold what he desires. But understand, the dirtiest form of seduction is not the chase, but the manipulation of her imagination. You do not conquer her through what you give, but through what you deny. When you become scarce, you transform into something rare. When you become rare, you become valuable. And when you are valuable, she will fight to hold on to you, even when she does not fully know if you were ever hers to begin with. Every woman carries within her a private wound, a silent hunger, or an unspoken fear that shapes the way she loves and the way she desires. This weakness is rarely revealed openly, for it hides beneath layers of pride, performance, and appearances. Yet if you have the eyes to see it, and the patience to uncover it, you hold the most dangerous weapon in seduction. The dirtiest method is not to charm her endlessly, not to flatter her endlessly, but to strike at the place where her defenses are thinnest, where her emotions betrayed her reason. Once you find her weakness, you do not heal it, you control it. Consider how a woman who fears abandonment behaves. Outwardly, she may act confident, dismissive, and even independent. But if her heart carries the memory of being left behind, this insecurity remains a shadow over all her interactions. The moment you hint at distance, the moment you show signs of retreat, her fear awakens. She clings harder, chases stronger, and fights to secure what she believes she is about to lose. Here, you do not need to beg for her attention. Her fear itself becomes your leash. With every subtle suggestion that you could leave, she binds herself tighter to you. Now imagine the woman who secretly craves admiration. Perhaps she has been overlooked, ignored, or compared to others. She may seem proud and self-assured. Beneath her exterior lies a craving for validation so intense that a carefully timed compliment feels like oxygen to her. If you feed her this validation constantly, she will consume it and grow bored. But if you give it sparingly, like water to a thirsty plant, you make her dependent on you. A single word of praise from your lips will carry the weight of 100 from another man. You give, then withdraw. You shine light, then cast shadow. In this pattern, she learns to long for your approval, as a child longs for a parent's recognition. Her weakness is no longer hers, it belongs to you. The dirtiest aspect of exploiting emotional weakness is that it creates an imbalance she cannot consciously resist. Logic tells her one thing, but her emotions demand another. If she fears rejection, she will chase even the man who mistreats her, so long as he dangles the possibility of leaving. If she craves attention, she will tolerate neglect if it means occasionally tasting the sweetness of affection. If she desires to feel chosen, she will compete with others, lowering herself just to win a place in your world. You are not fighting against her will, you are harnessing her own emotions against her. To uncover these weaknesses, you must observe more than you speak. Listen to the tone in her stories. Watch how she reacts when ignored. Pay attention to what makes her jealous, what makes her insecure, what makes her glow with excitement. Every reaction is a clue, every hesitation is a window into the wound she guards. Once you find it, you do not expose it openly. You touch it lightly, as if by accident, enough for her to feel that you see through her mask. This recognition unsettles her. She realizes you have entered a place most men never reach, the private realm of her vulnerability. When you use this weapon, you must never give her complete satisfaction. Fulfillment ends desire. If you heal the wound, she no longer needs you. But if you awaken it, feed it just enough to keep it alive, she will return again and again for the medicine only you appear to provide. It is a cruel mastery, for it turns her weakness into a cage of her own making. She believes she is free, yet she is bound by the invisible chain of her unhealed emotions, which you control with ruthless precision. This method is dirty because it does not rely on honesty, kindness, or fairness. It is not about meeting her as an equal, but about discovering where she bends and pressing there until she breaks. Yet in seduction, this is the method that never fails. Women are not conquered by surface charm or casual flattery. They are conquered when a man learns how to twist the hidden threads of their emotions. The one who knows her deepest fears, the one who manipulates her private hunger, becomes the one she cannot escape, no matter how much reason tells her to walk away. The truth is that attraction is not born from strength, but from imbalance. By exploiting her weakness, You create an emotional imbalance that she cannot stabilize without you. She tells herself she is strong, but she feels weak only in your presence. She tells herself she has control, but she loses it when you disappear. She tells herself she could live without you, yet her very fears betray her, forcing her to return again and again. This is not the beauty of fair romance. It is the brutality of power hidden beneath the mask of seduction. The human mind despises uncertainty, yet it is also enslaved by it. When the future is unclear, when outcomes are hidden, desire intensifies, and the heart grows restless. In seduction, certainty is poison. The moment a woman knows exactly where she stands with you, the game is over. She feels secure, she stops wondering, and eventually she stops desiring. To maintain power, you must never let her rest in the comfort of knowing your intentions. Instead, you must make her exist in a state of perpetual questioning. Caught between hope and fear, pleasure and doubt, possession and loss. This is where seduction thrives. Most men foolishly believe that giving a woman assurance, promises of loyalty, constant attention, and declarations of love will bind her closer. In truth, it does the opposite. Certainty breeds complacency, and complacency kills longing. When she knows she has you, she no longer needs to chase, no longer needs to imagine, no longer needs to invest. But when she doubts, when she cannot fully grasp your heart or predict your actions, she becomes consumed. She spends her nights turning over your words in her mind, dissecting your silences, and searching for hidden meaning in your smallest gestures. In this space of uncertainty, her desire for you multiplies because she cannot rest until she resolves the question, does he truly want me? To wield uncertainty effectively, you must master contradiction. You cannot be consistently cold, for then she will assume disinterest and eventually retreat. You cannot be consistently warm, for then she will feel secure and grow indifferent. The art lies in alternating between presence and withdrawal, affection and indifference, attention and neglect. Give her a taste of closeness, then retreat into silence. Offer her a moment of intimacy, then cover it with distance. Every contradiction unsettles her, and in this unsettled state, she becomes addicted to you. Her emotions swing violently between euphoria and anxiety, and in that storm, she clings harder to the one who creates it. You. Uncertainty forces her to seek validation not from herself, but from you. Every smile becomes a victory, every cold glance a wound. She begins to depend on your approval to stabilize her emotions. The more she depends, the more she invests. She gives herself over, not because you demanded it, because her own mind drives her there, desperate to escape the unease you have created. What you are doing is not seduction in the gentle sense. It is psychological warfare, where her thoughts betray her, making her chase the very man who withholds certainty from her. This method is especially powerful because it awakens the natural human obsession with unfinished stories. The mind cannot resist what is unresolved. When you keep her in suspense, when you act in ways that leave her unsure, she lives in anticipation of the next move. A delayed message becomes an eternity. A vague comment becomes a puzzle. A sudden withdrawal becomes a crisis. You have entered her imagination, and once you live there, you are impossible to escape. She will replay scenarios, interpret meanings, and invent fantasies, all in an effort to answer the questions you refuse to answer. There is also power in silence. Words reveal too much, but silence invites endless speculation. If she asks where you stand, do not answer directly. If she seeks clarity, give her riddles or half-truths. If she pushes for certainty, evade with charm, then withdraw with coldness. Every time you refuse to provide closure, you deepen her addiction. The more she wants answers, the more she invests her emotions, her energy, and her time into seeking them. And the more she invests, the more difficult it becomes for her to detach. Uncertainty also elevates your value. A man who is predictable appears ordinary. A man who is unpredictable becomes a force of fascination. She will describe you as mysterious, as complex, as someone she cannot quite figure out. This aura makes her believe you are above other men, for you do not give yourself away cheaply. In her mind, she must earn you, prove herself, and fight for your attention. This struggle becomes her obsession, and in fighting to win you, she falls deeper under your control. Control through uncertainty requires discipline, for it is tempting to reveal too much, to give in to the comfort of clarity, to seek her reassurance with declarations of your own. But if you resist this urge, if you hold back just enough to keep her questioning, you will maintain the upper hand. Each time she thinks she has grasped you, slip through her fingers. Each time she feels confident, remind her subtly that she may lose you. This is not cruelty for its own sake. It is the rawest form of power and attraction, for the woman who doubts is the woman who desires most fiercely. Through uncertainty, you make yourself unforgettable. You haunt her thoughts not by being present at all times, but by never allowing her to fully possess you. She is drawn not to the comfort of certainty, to the thrill of the unknown. And so long as she does not know where she truly stands, she will never stop trying to find out. Seduction is not a game of honesty, fairness, or simple charm. It is a battlefield where emotions are the weapons and perception is the prize. Those who play with sincerity alone are devoured, while those who wield deception, distance, weakness, and uncertainty rise above. The dirtiest method is not to give everything a woman thinks she wants, but to awaken the hunger she cannot control, the doubt she cannot silence, and the longing she cannot escape. Desire is not sustained by comfort but by tension, not by clarity but by mystery, not by abundance but by scarcity. When you master the illusion she craves, control the distance that sharpens her need, exploit the weakness she hides, and weave uncertainty around her heart, you no longer chase her, she chases you. In this, the balance of power shifts entirely, and seduction becomes less about conquest and more about rule. For the one who governs her emotions rules her completely.